Okay, now what we are going to see is the next chapter in bio, that is genetics, some basic fundamentals. Um, Genetics is the study of transmission of the hereditary structure from one generation to another generation. So when the characteristic features of one particular person is carried forward to his son and then further to his son or his daughter, and so on, we say that particular process to be as connected to genes, that is connected to genetics. So we always see that people always tell you that okay, you resemble very much your father or your mother or sometimes your great grandfather or a grandfather or grandmother. This is because there is this particular hereditary structure, that is the chromosomes or the DNA, which is going to be transmitted, or it is going to be transmitted from one generation to another generation and to the next generation, and accordingly we may have the characteristic features of some of our ancestors. In fact, we'll be having, definitely not some of, we'll be definitely having the features of our ancestors. So we see that genetics is a study of transmission of body features, both similarities and differences, from parents to offsprings, and the law relating to such transmission. So all these is related to certain laws also, so that's why this is completely basics of the transmission of the characteristics from one generation to another generation and the law related to that thing. So genetics is a study of transmission of body features from parents to offsprings and the laws relating to such transmission. Now the father of genetics, that means the person who studied genetics in a very detailed manner and gave us this particular benefit of having this as a part and parcel of our understanding of nature, is Gregor Mendel. Now Gregor Mendel was an Austrian monk, and he performed many experiments in the backside of the church where he was the monk, and there he did so many different experiments and came out with results of genetics, and accordingly he made his laws of genetics. So there are 3 laws of genetics which we'll be learning in the later part of the chapter. So we see that Gregor Mendel in the year 1822 to 1884 was born as a peasant family, and he had his early education in the monastery, and later he studied science and mathematics at University of Vienna. He wanted to be a teacher, but luck did not favor him, and he failed in the examination of teaching certificate. But what he discovered later has made him the teacher of teachers. That is, he had returned to his monastery and spent the rest of his life as an abbot. The monastery had a lovely garden which satisfied his urge to understand some secret of nature regarding the inheritance of certain features in Garden P. His findings are known as Mendel's law of inheritance. So as I told you, he was there in the church on the backside of the garden. Backside of the church was the garden where he did many experiments on pea, butter, okay, watana. So that on the pea plant he did many experiments, and then he made his laws of inheritance. In fact, in genetics, what we are studying in this chapter, and genetics in the modern day time, is also going to be much more different. So in fact, we are into a stage where genetics is helping us a lot. Genetic engineering is one of the field which is a very upcoming field in the industry, and so genetic engineering is a technique in which the genetic constitution of an organism is altered by introducing new genes into the chromosome. So we see that we are doing something like a cut paste of certain DNA into certain DNA, and accordingly changing the way that particular organism used to be, and hence we are having a completely new kind of a thing, and that is how genetic engineering is helping us. In fact, it is also helping us in making certain kind of medicines like making of insulin and all. So we see over here that The genetically modified organism thus produced is grown by multiplying fast, and the gene produced is obtained in large quantity. The hormone insulin was the first such product. The insulin producing gene of mammals have been successfully introduced in certain bacteria which have been made to produce it. So if we see that insulin is something which is produced by our body by the adrenal gland. Now in case our adrenal gland is not producing sufficient insulin, then we need to inject insulin from outside. So originally we used to get it from another animals, and insulin we take it from other animals, but now due to genetic engineering we are inserting that insulin into a bacteria, and when the bacteria multiplies very fast, so it is going to produce a huge amount of insulin, and hence we get a insulin which is genetically produced by us. So that's a very important kind of a scientific research which has taken place and helping us in a long manner. Similarly, genetic counseling is yet another practical aspect. Newly married couples are advised to consult a specialist regarding the possibility of any undesirable trait which their children may inherit. Disease like hemophilia, that is bleeder's disease with the tendency of bleeding freely from even a slight wound, thalassemia, and sickle cell anemia with defective hemoglobin are examples of genetic diseases which can be prevented to some extent by proper genetic matching of the prospective parents. So we can see that many a time it happens that a person may not be a sufferer of that particular disease, but he may be a carrier of that disease. So if he is a carrier, and even if the spouse who is to whom he is going to get married to is also a carrier, there is a large possibility that they both may have a child who would be having this disease. Now when the child would have a disease, so if we know that the child, there is a possibility that the child will have a disease, that is possible that we can avoid that particular matchmaking, or we can do some kind of medication in the earlier stage so that this would not take place. So that is why genetic kind of counseling is also one of the new aspects, wherein people, instead of looking just for looking about the boy and the girl, they also go for genetic matching, which will help that their offsprings, the couple will have a better healthy offsprings in the future. So that is also there. In fact, there are possibilities that in near future genetic engineering can go so high that there could be what we call it as a designer baby, because you may be having a chance that okay, मुझे इसका features ये चाहिए, उसका ये features चाहिए, इसका ये features चाहिए, and the whole DNA of yours would be or your whole your chromosome will be modified accordingly, the cell will be modified accordingly, and the baby who will be born will be a designer baby as per your requirements of okay, उसको ये आँख ऐसी आँख और ऐसा ये और ये features and this features, hair should be this will not curly and straight and things like that. Maybe many other things which can be there, but yes, then I would not be surprised that if down the lane after 20-25 years you may be having something kind of such a kind of a thing may be available to you all. So genetic engineering is a very interesting field because it lets you to you will be able to, now when you see genetics, you will be able to see that how you can identify that how your parents are having certain characteristics and accordingly what you are having, and then so what percentage of the parent characteristics are available to you. Such things you can easily identify using genetics. So quite an interesting subject as such. So first of all, we start with what we call it as heredity. Now we normally hear that okay, वो तो मुझे heredity से आया है. Okay, somebody who is if the father is bald and the son automatically is losing his hair, the main thing will be told to him is it is heredity, and he is definitely going to go bald in future. So that all what is heredity over here? So it is, the term heredity may be defined as transmission of genetically based characteristics from parents to offsprings, or the genetic constitution of an individual. So when some kind of a characteristics which are present in you are because it was present in your parents, that is why it has come to you, then you can say that it has come to you by heredity. So heredity is some kind of a thing which is going to be present from one parent to the offspring. Like for example, if you say that you are left-handed, then definitely someone in the family would be left-handed. If not your parents, maybe their parents, or somewhere it will be there that it is coming through that particular generation, from one generation to another generation. So that's why we say that like begets like. It means that young ones look like their parents. You will always find the young ones some other way. You will, as you grow, they will slowly and steadily, everybody will start telling you, oh, hey, you are looking very much like your mother now, or you are looking very much like your father now. So that particular thing is always going to take place as you grow older, and as you mature and your features are getting fixed or matured. So you'll always find such a thing being told to you. So cats produce cats and not dogs. Mango's seed germinates into a mango tree. Human gives birth only to a human and not to apes. Even the curd bacteria which grows in the milk undergoes hundreds of generations each day and continue to produce the same kind of bacteria and not any different kind of bacteria. So that is why we say like begets like. So the young ones will always look like the parents. So that is why all organisms, whether animals, plants or microorganisms, produce their own kind through reproduction, but the offsprings are never identical in their parents to their parents. Some difference, howsoever small it may be, found in them. So you can see that, okay, we say that okay, these are the two parents and the parent are going to have kids. So it is never going to happen that the two kids are exactly the same in features, in case of characteristics. No, it will never happen that they are. Now, this is because of the mixing of the genes. Now, the mixing of genes, if you remember, it takes place in meiosis when the crossover of the chromosomes takes place. We had understood that day that if this is one chromosome over here, so this is one chromosome over here from the in the male or in the female, when the sex cell is going to be developed, at that time the two chromosomes over here are going to be coming up in this way, that they are going to be like this, and then it is going to be this way that there will be a cuspid image. यहाँ पे ये वाला कट होके यहाँ पे पेस्ट होगा और ये वाला कट होके यहाँ पे पेस्ट होगा. Accordingly, that crossover which is taking place during meiosis is one of the reason that why, or the main reason why the parents have got offsprings which are of different characteristics. So that is why, because it is mainly because of this crossover taking place while formation of the sex cell, while meiosis takes place. So we see variation in population. Human being as a species share many main characteristics or traits among themselves which identify the species Homo sapiens. See, we have got many kinds of traits. Traits are basically physical characteristics what we are showing. Okay, so that is the traits what we show. So we have got many traits and characteristics which we are showing, and that makes us Homo sapiens. So yet the various races or tribes look different in features, several features. We can always see the Mongolian features, the Chinese kind of people, they're looking different. We Asians looking very different. The Indians and all looking different. Similarly, the one who are in the African continent, they are going to look different. The Europeans, you look very different. So you can see that even if all of us are Homo sapiens, we definitely look different, and according to our features, we can identify that okay, this person, he looks as if he has come from the Mongolian country, means like Mongolian features hone karan, it will be either Chinese or Nippon, Japanese or Thai kind of places. So that is how you are identifying people because of that particular difference in the traits over there. So even within the same race or tribe, the individual members in the population show differences. So even, yeah, maybe we are having an Asian look, but that Asian look may be I look different from my brother, I look different from the others over here. Each and every one of you are looking different. So we can see this difference is definitely going to be there even if we are of the same species. So even within the same race or tribe, the individual members in the population show difference. Further, the smallest unit of population is the family, and their two members show difference in body features. These small differences among individuals are called as variations. Now, the best example of this would be twins. There are twins who are born at the same time, but still they are completely different. Firstly, one will be a male and other will be a female. That is one part. Second part is that features, quality wise, everything, they are completely different. So that's the best example to differentiate or well to say that how the variations are taking place between the individuals. So within the family, of course, there are differences. Apart from that, even within the siblings, there is so many differences. The same is true for animals also. We keep pets like dogs and cats and domestic animals like cows and buffalo. There are also many breeds of each one of them, and even the small breed, same breed, there are minor differences and variations among individuals. So that's why we come to a particular kind of a terminology called characters and traits. Any inheritable feature is a character. So whenever anything, like for example, I having straight hair is a characteristic feature of mine which is inherited by me from my parents. If I am right-handed, I have inherited it from my parents. If my tongue is rolling like this, then this is tongue rolling. So if it is tongue rolling, then I have characters. This character is a character which I have inherited from my parents. So the character is what is going to be inherited, and this character will be of different types. Like for example, if there is a right-handed person, then there is a left-handed person. If there is one who is a tongue rolling, there will be a tongue who will be having not tongue rolling. That means his tongue cannot be rolled and it will be just straight. So if he puts out this tongue, he will not be able to roll it. So that will be non-tongue rolling. So similarly, curly hair and straight hair, there will be eye color of the eye that will be different. The ear lobe will be of different. So that the alternative forms, okay, the alternative forms of characters are the traits. So first is the character. So character is okay, whatever you are exhibiting over there, that is the character what you are possessing. And the trait are the different options which were available in that particular character. So that's why character and trait. Character is the inheritable feature. The inheritable feature is the character. So whether it is left-handed, right-handed is one character. And उसमें कौन से options है? Left-handed एक option है, right-handed another option है. That is a trait. So that is why the alternative forms of character are called as traits. So there's a table over here which tells you what are the different inheritable characteristics what we are inheriting from our parents. Of course, this is not the complete list. So here is a list of some of the things which is here. So we inherit thousands of characters from our parents, who in turn had inherited from their parents. Thus the family members, brothers, sisters, cousins tends to resemble one another. Here is a list of some such characters and their traits. So first is color of the eye. You are able to inherit the color of the eye. Normally, so color of the eye is a character. What are the traits? That could be brown or blue. So brown and blue are the. Now when we say black color, so it comes in the brown color itself with a darker complexion. So that is only thing, the brown and blue are the two traits, and then you have got the darker side of brown and the lighter side of blue also. So that way it works out to be the color of the eye. Hair shape, curly or straight. Eyebrows, heavy or thin, heavy, bushy or thin. Hair on the middle joints of the fingers, growth or no growth. So between the fingers there is a growth or not, but normally in the toe part. Then color vision, normal or red-green color blindness. So the child may be color blindness. So he may not be able to identify between the red and the green color. So that is color blindness and normal person. Tongue rolling of the tongue into U shape when extended out from the mouth, or no rolling. Hand use, right-handedness or left-handedness. Skin color, albinism, that is total absence of pigment in skin, or normal, light or dark pigmented. Earlobes, free or attached, like over here, and lips, thick or thin. And lastly is the RH blood group, that is RH positive or RH negative. So these are certain examples of what we can inherit from our parents. So this was the basics of genetics, that we are having characters. The characters have different options. They are called as the traits. So now we are going to study who are the carriers of this particular characteristics, and they are nothing but the chromosomes. The chromosomes, we understood about the chromosomes in the last video, that chromosomes are made up of DNA, which are made DNA and the histones forming the chromatin fiber or the thread, that is nothing in the nucleosome. So that particular DNA is the one which is going to be helping you to inherit the characteristics from one generation to another generation. So chromosomes, the carrier of heredity. You have learned in the previous lesson that chromosomes are only visible when a cell nucleus is about to divide. Photographs of dividing cell nucleus can be taken through a high power light microscope. These photographs are used for artificially arranging the chromosome according to their size and shape on the chart, that is karyotype. One such human karyotype is shown in the figure. So they are given over here that we know that we are having 23 pairs of chromosomes. So we have got 46 chromosomes, and these 46 chromosomes are always in a pair. So these pairs, तो अगर समझो एक जो है वो अगर हेयर का टाइप का है तो दूसरा भी हेयर के टाइप का रहेगा. So there we will be having two such chromosomes which will be taking care of the of course it will be have many other characteristics also, but I'm just giving one example that okay, if one of the set of chromosomes, one of the pair of chromosomes is going to take care of one particular character which is present in you. So accordingly, these kinds of chromosomes which are having the same kind of character in them are called as homologous chromosomes. So homologous pairs. So we can see over here in the figure also that they have given us some 23 different kinds of pairs. So this is one pair, two pair, three pair, four pair, ऐसे करके pair दिया है. You can see the last one, that is the 23rd pair, they are given two because there are two options. One is it could be a female where both of them are X, and it could be a male where one can be X and other can be Y. So accordingly, there will be the 23rd part which will be identifying the sex of that particular person. All other 22 are the autosomes or the body chromosomes which are going to just tell you what are the different characteristics what you are going to inherit from your parents. So chromosome in homologous pairs. Once again, look at the above list carefully. In each organism, the chromosome occurs in even numbers. This is so possible. They always occur in pairs. You can see that each and everything is in pairs. I told you that it is in pairs. Why it is in pairs? Because one is coming from your father and one is coming from your mother. That is why we have got 20. So we very well understood it in my meiosis. That meiosis के अंदर क्या था? The one for 23 pairs becomes 23 chromosomes and 23 chromosomes करके दो cell बनता है. So one sperm contains 23 chromosomes. Similarly, one egg contains 23 chromosomes. So now you have got 23 chromosomes from a male and 23 chromosomes from the female, and when they fuse together to form the first complete cell, that will be 23 pairs. So the 23 pairs generate कहाँ से हुआ? 23 from the father and 23 from the mother. So that is how so in each organism the chromosome occurs in even numbers. This is so because they always occur in pairs. Thus in human the 46 chromosomes are present in 23 pairs. The two chromosomes of each pair are similar in size and shape and are derived as one each from two parents. Okay, so 23 pairs coming in such a way that each one coming from each parent. These identical chromosomes pair are called as homologous chromosomes. So the identical pairs. So 23 pairs are the ones, and these pairs, so 23 from here and 23 from here, so there will be a match the following between the two. Okay, the hair chromosome will combine with the hair chromosome over here. The left-handedness chromosome, so handedness chromosome will come over here. The tongue rolling will be coming with this. So accordingly, there will be 22 pairs of chromosomes which will be combining together to form the characteristics, and last one will be the sex cell, the X and the Y or X and the X, which will give the sex to that particular person. Accordingly, these identical chromosomes pair are called as homologous chromosomes. So homologous chromosomes, a pair of corresponding chromosomes of the same shape and size. Okay, a pair of corresponding chromosomes of the same shape and size, one from each parent, is called as homologous chromosomes. Okay. Now the two main categories of chromosomes are, as I told you, autosomes, that are the 22 pairs, and sex chromosome, that is one pair. So you have noticed earlier in the karyotype that you would notice that each one of the chromosome pair numbered 1 to 22 has identical chromosomes, and they are categorized as autosomes. So autosomes are the identical chromosomes which are going to determine the characteristic features of yours. So that is why they are called as autosomes. They are the body structure. Okay. But the 23rd pair is different, and it is chromosome are called sex chromosomes, which are designated as X and Y. The XX pair with similar partners is found in females, whereas XY pair with dissimilar partners is found in males. So if the chromosome from the parent A, that is the father, is X and the mother is X, then the child becomes a female. If the father gives a Y and the mother is always X, so then it will be a male child. So of course it will be the father's chromosome which will determine the sex of the child. Okay. So the Y chromosome of the male is much smaller than the X chromosome over here. So that's why, of course, the male also contains an X chromosome and Y both, one each, whereas the female contains only two X's. So that is the difference. So they are given a figure over here wherein the X is like an X over here and the Y is just a half part of X. So it is just the half of this. This much part. If you take this much part, it is the similar to the Y chromosome. Now the chromosome number. The chromosome number is constant for individuals of the species, and each body cell has the same number. Human have 46 chromosomes. So basically we can say that chromosome number determines the kind of organism you are. So and each and every organism has a fixed kind, or each and every species has a fixed kind of chromosome in them. So chromosome numbers of some of the animals and plants are Ascaris is 2, onion is 16, maize is 20, and so humans is 46. That is what is important for us. Gorilla is 48. So you can see that in this way, now there are some insects which will be having more than 1000 chromosomes, and grey fish and all 200. So in fact, it can be seen that sometimes that the animals which are much smaller may have more number of chromosomes. It is not necessary that अरे ये तो बहुत छोटा है तो उसके chromosome numbers कम होंगे, ऐसा नहीं है. Chromosome number has nothing to do with the size of that particular organism. It is just that it is having that many number of chromosomes. So over here the important thing for us is just about the humans, that is 46 chromosomes, that is 23 pairs. We are not supposed to learn, or you are not required to learn the chromosome numbers of the other different things what are given over here. Okay, so accordingly we see over here that sex determination of son or daughter. So now it's very important that we are in a country wherein there is a problem of that okay नहीं लड़का ही चाहिए वगैरह वगैरह. So that particular thing, और उसमें भी who is to be blamed? Normally they blame the girl, that is the female of that particular couple, that okay उसने बच्चा जो दिया वो सिर्फ लड़की दे रही है, blah blah blah. This is completely illogical over here when you see the genetics part. So when you know the genetics it is the male who is giving its X or Y, which is determining the sex of the baby. So then how are you blaming a mother who is just giving the X irrespective of whether it is a boy or a girl? So mother के साथ से तो एट टाइम X ही आने वाला है. It is the father who is either giving an X or a Y. Of course, he doesn't have a control of that thing also. But at the same time, you can see that blaming a girl or a mother that why did she give birth to a female child and not a male child is absolutely absurd. So you see, the sex of the child depends upon the kind of the sperm that fertilizes the egg. The egg contains only one X chromosome, but half of the sperm released in the genital tract of the female during coitus are X bearing and the remaining half are Y bearing. So it's simply a matter of chance as to which type of sperm fuses with the ovum. So it is not in anybody's control. Whatever are the number of these sperms which are going to be released. See, if 100 are released, then 50 will be male, will be X and 50 will be Y. It is just a luck that which one entered into the egg to fertilize it. So the egg X is fused with X bearing sperm. The resulting combination is XX. So if the female में तो XC आएगा, male में से अगर X आया तो it will be a female, and अगर female में X है और male में से Y आया तो it will be a male. So this will be a girl and this will be a boy. So that is what is there, that the resulting female type of child is produced when X and X is there, and if egg X is fused with Y bearing sperm, the resulting combination is XY, that is a male constitution, and child produced is a male child, that is a son. Okay, we'll stop for this video and continue next.